Okay, so this episode answered some questions finally, but it raised even more. Okay, so we finally get to see who actually started the forest fire from Towa and Setsuna's childhood. This demon, Honura, whatever his name is, the fire demon, the one that they're going to go slay off of Riku's request, admits to being the one to start this fire. The only question is, why? He was told to by another person that we see in the new opening, who's apparently, if I'm not mistaken, named Zero. What is this, Code Geass? Got some goat status going on up in here. But yeah, she tells him to burn down the forest and mentions that they'll finally be rid of the two princess half-demons, or the two half-demon girls. Then she turns around and says, "Is that okay by you, Lord Sesshomaru?" And he just turns around and walks away. And you're like, what? So Sesshomaru knew that his fucking kids were going to get killed now. Well, supposedly were going to get killed in that forest fire? I don't know what to think right now. I really don't. I mean, first of all, we get to see Sesshomaru, okay? That's the big thing. So, Sesshomaru, after his children were born, wasn't immediately trapped in the sacred tree. Which means that at this point in time, Rin is still safe, we assume. So, if he's not doing this to save Rin, then why? That's why I say, like, yeah, we finally figured out who started the fire, but now there's all these new questions. And it's a pretty big set of questions, too. Why the fire? Why does Sesshomaru allow it? I mean, even Sesshomaru's not that big of a dick, I wouldn't imagine. Oh. But as far as the episode itself, I enjoyed it. I mean, obviously we had the big reveal of Sesshomaru and knowing who started the fire. But also, we got to see a lot more Riku in this episode. And I've really like when Riku shows up in the episode because things are always bound to go down one way or the other. The fight itself was fun to a degree, but nothing really happened. The girls kind of just got tossed around a little bit, and then Riku kind of talked the guy into killing himself, in a way. So, I don't know if I want to say that this demon was on the level of the Four Perils, or if he was worse, because the fighting didn't really last long enough to find out. We know that he recognized the girls from the Rainbow Pearls, and that's what led to the flashback of him setting fire to the forest. So these Rainbow Pearls apparently have something to do with the early destruction of the fire or the forest in the first place. Like, apparently, because he said if they find out about it, they're still alive, I'm in big trouble. So I assume that they want them dead to get their pearls, but that still doesn't answer the questions of who, unless it's this Zero person. And secondly, why Sesshomaru would allow it if he wasn't doing this, as we assumed earlier, was just to save Rin, if she is indeed at this time not taken by the sacred tree, which the preview shows her laying in a bed, so we assume she isn't. So yeah, there's a lot of questions to be answered here. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't want to say he was a trash villain in this episode, because he really kind of got done dirty. He just kind of killed himself, unless I'm misremembering. Yeah, he just kind of killed himself because Toa really wanted to kill him herself, but they wouldn't allow her to because he was, on fire and shit. They didn't want her to get hurt. So yeah, another, the Four Perils have been a disappointment. This guy ultimately was a disappointment, though he did put up a fight, which I have to commend, but at the end of the day, lackluster as the course has been here so lately. There was just a tiny little gag bit going on with Towa's smartphone, and it's like, hey, this is another one of my smartphone. If anybody's seen that obscure anime title. But it didn't really go nowhere. I guess they would put that in there for when she says she doesn't need to walk around anymore, that she's trying to get rid of her attachment to her past life or whatever and try to become more ingrained in this new feudal era. I'm not sure. To me, it kind of felt misplaced, and aside from comedic relief, kind of really just dragged things down. But yeah, the big stuff, like I said, is really just understanding or trying to figure out why Sesshomaru would allow this to happen. Because we see in the preview of the next episode, we're going to be seeing Kagome, Inuyasha, and Sesshomaru all back. And they talk about this big peril that's happening, and it shows us what looks like a meteorite or something that's coming towards the Earth. And it says that Inuyasha and Sesshomaru fight to stop it. And then it shows Rin, what I assume to be Rin, saying, I have faith in you, Lord Sesshomaru. So, if it's around that same time period, because it looks like it is, it could be earlier, but I'm assuming after what they've shown us is probably maybe after. I'm just grasping at straws at this point. But, yeah. So, they're fighting, so Sesshomaru is still willing to protect the world, apparently. Which then still throws in question, why would he give up his daughters, allow them to be killed? So, yeah. And then it shows Kinemaru, and he's asking why I've been awakened, and it shows him, like, placing his hand on Inuyasha's face or something. So, next episode's actually going to be super hype. I'm really excited for the next episode. And I'm hoping that will actually start to shed some light on everything. But yeah, I mean, Riku's still a mystery. You know, it's like, go back to this episode, and the girl that he found, the girl crawling away, about to die in the snow, and he saves her. It's like, and then he acted like he knew the demon that they were fighting earlier, which he probably did. So, you know, it's like, what was you just doing up there chilling in the middle of this blizzard, walking on the side of this mountain, first of all? Secondly, if you knew this cat, did you have some kind of plan for this? Were you trying to lure them in to get kills so you get the pearls? That wouldn't surprise me. So there's still a lot to be asked about Riku, for sure. Yeah, because he even mentions in the episode is like, nothing good comes from loving a human. It didn't work for the great dog demon, and it didn't work for Lord Sesshomaru. So, is this one of those things where he just has a vendetta against Sesshomaru for loving a human? That seems a little shallow. I assume there's a lot more to it than that. But I think it's also points to that Riku's got more of a hand in all of this than he's letting on, and maybe even more than what we've theorized so far. I still maintain that he's probably the in-game villain and not Kinemaru. That's just my thoughts on it. I've had that for a while, and this just re-establishes that in my mind. It not really confirms it, but it's starting to solidify it. Until we get to see more of the Four Perils and Kinemaru, I'm still thinking Riku's the in-game boss here. The only question is he strong enough without the pearls to kill Kinemaru? Or is that why he's trying to get his hands on the pearls? If nobody else can kill Kinemaru, he will do it himself. And then, like, we've seen the pearls leave the girls before. So, why did they not just take them from them as kids if that's what they wanted? What was the point of killing them? There's still so many questions. And the biggest question of all really is still like, where in the hell did these rainbow pearls come from, and what are they? So yeah, decent episode. It answered some questions, and it left us with a lot more. That's good. It keeps us invested. The previews got me hyped for the next episode. The last thing I want to touch on is the new opening. There is a new opening. If you know, I really, really, really enjoyed the last one. It's one of my favorite openings of this past anime season. But this new opening is alright. It's a good song. What I do love about this new opening is that we see Sesshomaru, Inuyasha, I believe Kagome, but definitely Inuyasha and Sesshomaru, and that Zero person that was talking to the fire demon earlier. They're all present in the opening. I believe Riku is, but also Kinemaru is an opening as well. And that's important because as of right now, we're led to believe that he's the main villain if it's not Riku. But even if it is Riku, they're both in the opening. Which is to say that this core of the anime is finally gonna hopefully start focusing in on these two quote-unquote main villains and really start bringing the story home and answering some questions. Either that or starting to set up for a future plot line in another season, because I still think this is going to get a season 2. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there ain't nothing really else to talk about. Just a lot of questions, a few answers, and a new opening. But what do you think? Any theories on what Sesshomaru might have been thinking out when he allowed his children to be endangered in that forest fire? Do you think he knew they were going to be safe? I mean, it is Sesshomaru. He certainly could have foreseen that. If there's anybody with intellect in the Inuyasha world, it is Sesshomaru. Yeah, and what are your thoughts on that preview episode for the next one? That's what's got me hyped. You know, just drop your comments, theories, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.